Obviously, it's a big fight. Conor Benn's a good mate of mine. I want to see him knock him out cold tonight.
It's been rumoured all week. Tell us the truth or not. Are you watching Chris Eubank's hands being wrapped for your mate Conor Benn tonight?
I will be in Chris Eubank's dressing room tonight, and I'll be watching his hands getting wrapped and making sure there's no stacking going on. Keeping a fair sport.
Will you be winding him up a little bit or not?
Now look, he's got a job to do. Honestly, I've been asked to oversee it, and I'm willing to oversee it, So
What's happening, Billy?
no cheating, lads. We want fair rapping, no cheating.
Yeah, you've got your team members.
Yeah, but what team members in there? Because under Conor's.
Don't matter what's under.
You're just sitting there. You're just sitting there. You're nobody, bruv. You're no big bouncer. You're nobody.
The rival of Chris Eubank Jr. claiming that he was going into Chris Eubank Jr.'s locker room to watch him rap his raps, okay, to make sure there's no stacking going on, okay? If you guys are not familiar with stacking, it's an illegal way of rapping, and it's quotes. This practice is considered illegal when a boxer refers to using excessive padding, including tape on the hands and wrists before boxing gloves are put on. This practice is illegal in many boxing organizations because it can potentially lead to increased power in punches by creating a rigid cast-like structure on the hands. And let me counterpunch. Well, he wasn't able to do that. Okay, Chris Eubank Jr. won in a dogfight, a war, a drug-out battle, okay, with his new rival, Conor Benn. And for Billy Joe to say that, it's just planting bad seeds to me because it insinuates that Chris Eubank Jr. is a cheater or he's known to rap his raps. Now, me personally, I've never heard of Chris Eubank Jr. rapping his raps, stacking his raps before putting the gloves on. I never heard of him doing that. But Billy Joe Saunders, of course, may just be planting those seeds just in case, like he did, Conor Benn, his mate, lost. Okay, so this is more fuel for the fire for controversy. Call it Glovegate part whatever. Okay, another edition of the Glovegate resurrection. Okay, that some tampered of the gloves, that some Antonio Margarito, some Louis Resto, people claim that Tyson Fury did it, which you guys know I defended to the end, okay, until the third fight happened anyway. And in that case, nobody cared anyhow, simply based off the fact of how the fight went, okay, and the examination and the extra examination of the gloves. Now, I was told that he wasn't in the dressing room because they wouldn't let him in the dressing room. But rest assured, there were people, officials, to watch Chris Eubank Jr. make sure he did the proper raps on the wrist and the fists. Okay, so there shouldn't be any of this going on. But it is Billy Joe Saunders, by the way, and you know how Billy Joe does it. He talks trash, he creates controversy, he's a prankster, and he is a rival of Chris Eubank. They only fought once, they supposed to fought twice. I don't really know what happened in that fight, but it is what it is. I don't know if there was any kind of controversy or accusation meant for Chris Eubank. Has he ever been in that before? I don't know. I'm just going to assume no. I haven't heard it personally, but it doesn't look good based on the result, because things like this could easily happen, especially for anyone that follows Conor Benn. They can say, well, you know what? His punches were a little harder. His punches were not like they were before. He was dehydrated, right, or weren't hydrated. Therefore, he shouldn't punch that hard. And let me counterpunch that. If anybody benefits a bravery badge, it's Conor Benn. It's really furthermore to see how tough and to acknowledge how tough it was, since guys like Billy Joe is insinuating that Chris Eubank Jr. is cheating with his hand wraps. It just shows you, hey, this is still a tough mother sucker because he was able to take that anyway. But furthermore, I do think that no foul play was going unless we hear more of it. This is the first time. I did hear yesterday in the live stream that people were talking about it like, hey, will this be another glove gate? I didn't know what they meant because I didn't hear what Billy Joe Saunders said. I missed it because my television was on mute because I was commentating the fight, you know, in fear of no copyright crapola going on. You know what I mean? So I think that Billy Joe saying that, you know, I do wonder why he's saying that about Chris. Did he have issues when he fought him? Were there any issues back then? I don't really know. If anybody knows, let me know, because I didn't hear that. And I saw that fight too about 10 years ago, which was a pretty good fight. Billy Joe Saunders won the beginning of that fight. Chris Eubank Jr. rallied back, but to no avail. It was a loss for Chris Eubank. Actually, that was his first loss of his career, I might add. And, you know, George Groves was the second. And then, of course, Liam Smith was the third. Okay, so that's the total loss history of Chris Eubank Jr. And in the Liam fight and in the Grove fight, we didn't hear anything. So maybe it's just all about Billy. But it does make me curious on why he feels that Chris Eubank Jr. could cheat or would cheat, you know, unless he had something that happened similar before. But you guys tell me what you think of Billy Joe accusing Chris Eubank Jr. of stacking an illegal way of wrapping your gloves. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch.